to the Cannons and Tomahawks podcast, presented by Belly Up Sports. All things hockey, all the time. And now, here are your hosts, two washed-up beer leaguers who have no idea what they're talking about, Zach Martin and Alex Nuttall.
What's up, everybody? We're back for another episode of Cannons and Tomahawks podcast, presented by Belly Up Sports and sponsored by Spy Optic, Pure Hockey, and Romeo's Pizza. I am Alex, not Zach. That is Zach, not Alex. Zach, what's going on, man?
Not Alex. I'm doing pretty good myself, actually. Been a good night. Had a lot of good stuff going on. We had a really good episode with recording with Corey Patterson, which is going to drop on Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully everyone likes that. But, man, it's Friday night, which means another great night of us talking about hockey. So you know what? Probably one of the best days of the week for me is just be able to jump on here and talk some hockey with you, man. How are you doing tonight?
Always. Oh, I'm doing well. We actually won a game. So that's pretty cool. Doing good. Yeah.
Not the other night though, but yeah, you've won a game.
Not the other night, but the other night we did.
Yeah. Oh, it's same for us too. Tuesday night we did. So yeah, I mean, hey, look at that. Look at us. Look at us.
Yeah, but no, yeah. So we got done with that episode with Corey. That was awesome. Anyone listening to this, stay tuned on Tuesday. That's going to come out. Corey's an awesome dude. Former WHL player, former ECHL player, was a color announcer or color analyst for the Tallahassee and the ECHL. That was really cool. He's got a lot of really cool stories. That was awesome. He's got a podcast coming out too. We talk about that more on that episode. So please stay tuned and please listen to that episode. Share it. It's going to be awesome.
He may or may not have been in a movie too. So you might have to wait for that episode to drop to see which one it was. So
yeah, absolutely. And you know what? We'll leave you with this little tidbit. Prior to that, he does talk about a specific individual. We will not name who, in his opinion, really helped change the face of the game on how it's played from back in the day up until now to where it's, the players are stronger, faster, more skilled, things like that. And you're going to kind of be surprised at who that is. I know I was pretty shocked to know who that was and that he played on the same line as this guy and things like that. And it's really cool. And we'll give you this little hint. He actually is a current NHL coach. It was really sweet.
Yeah. The couple stories he did drop about this guy was phenomenal. Like, didn't even think about asking him this, and he just brought it up. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I love stories like this. So yeah, it's probably one of the top episodes we've done overall. So I'm really excited for everyone to listen to Corey's interview episode when that does drop, because phenomenal stuff.
Hands down. So let's get into some Jackets. Your favorite team to hate. So before we start getting into the Blue Jackets segment and then later the Blackhawks segment, please remember next Saturday, April 10th, Zach and I will be doing a live stream trying not to kill each other for the Blackhawks and Blue Jackets game in Chicago. It's going to get crazy. We will not be doing a Blue Jackets and Blackhawks segment next week, specifically because of this. During the whole game, we will be talking about the recent events with the Blue Jackets and the Blackhawks and things like that. We will be starting to post some stuff out, letting everybody know what time it's going to happen, everything like that this upcoming weekend. The game is going to be at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central, so on and so forth. All of you in Australia that may listen to this, I don't know what time it is. I don't care. I don't really want to look it up. Howard will hook you up with that. All right. So anyways, that stream's coming up. Now Blue Jackets talk. The Blue Jackets suck. I was going to say they suck against Detroit, but they're just terrible in general right now. We didn't talk about it last week because our recording days were messed up. We tried a new format. There's a lot going on. Long story short, we're going to do what we want to do. Okay. All right. So we dropped 2 horrendous games to the Red Wings, 3-1, then 4-1.
Yeah, like
we looked like the Mighty Ducks, and I'm talking at the beginning of the movie, the Mighty Ducks. Okay, this horrendous team that nobody knows how to tie a skate up, let alone shoot the puck. Okay, we looked so bad.
How? The thing was, I was home watching both of these games before anything else, and even I was watching this going, "You're playing the Red Wings."
So we lost on Saturday. Okay. So we lost the first game 3-1. And I'm sitting there thinking, all right, this team has to be angry. They have to be pissed. They have to be irritated already. And the fact that they go and lose this first game 3-1 is mind blowing to me. Absolutely mind blowing. So they lose this first game 3-1. And you think this team is going to be furious, absolutely rage-inducing. They're going to play this out second game, and they're going to come out on fire, right? No.
Nope.
Okay. They come out, they lay an even bigger turd on Sunday. Again, against Detroit. The Detroit Red Wings. Yes.
How?
The 2020-2021 Detroit Red Wings. The Red Wings that are horrendous. The Red Wings that are in last place. Oh, yeah. They're also in the middle of a rebuild. So we're losing to this team 2 times in a row?
Yeah. You
what?
You didn't lose like a 1-game fluke. You got weekend swept.
So
by one of the worst teams in the league right now.
Yes.
Not named Buffalo.
Now, you would think, all right, this is ridiculous. This is bad enough. Okay. At this point, we lost 4 in a row. We lost both of the games in Columbus to Carolina to end that 4-game series. So essentially we split the series with Carolina. That's fine. We got 5 of 8 points. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So we lose
Carolina. Yeah.
We lose these 2 dumpster fire games to Detroit. All right. You think it cannot get any worse. Then they come out and play like a Stanley Cup winning team against Tampa Bay. Absolutely infuriating. You lose these games to Detroit, and then you come out and play the reigning Stanley Cup champions and beat them 3-1 and absolutely obliterate them in every category for the game. I don't understand. They came out, that had to be the most physical game I've seen them play in years, other than the Tampa series in the playoffs. Not last year, but in 2019.
Yeah, because they're probably upset that they got absolutely swept in the weekend, and everyone's probably clowning them. Because
shouldn't they have been mad after losing that horrendously on Saturday?
You would think, but that's the thing. It's like this team is such a Jekyll and Hyde hockey team that it's like they almost play to the level of their opponent, and that's not what you want to be as a team. You don't want to play as bad as the team that you're playing, and then play as good against the team that you're playing.
You need
to be consistent.
Yeah.
And the Jackets are not a consistent team, and it's wild how that happens.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. They play this game against Tampa on Tuesday. All right. So talking about that game for a second, that it was a fantastic game that the Blue Jackets played. I enjoyed watching every second of this game. All right. Multiple reasons. One, first period, nothing really happens, but in the second period, so Oliver Bjorkstrand gets a goal. It was a phenomenal tip. This man is looking like a contortionist, just spinning around, kind of the way his back is angled to be able to tip this puck in for the first goal. But David Savard scores a goal for the first time in 123 games, and it was an absolute beauty. Little one-timer drop pass from Alexander Texier and just a little clapper 10 feet in front of the net, just like I do with you on NHL 21. Little absolute clapper from no space out, and it was so cool seeing him finally get that goal for being that far away.
We're not blown by that comment of you talking about NHL 21 when we both know I obliterated you in all 5 games that we played besides that one where you beat me in overtime as Team Finland against my team Germany. Don't talk like you beat me in NHL 21 on a regular basis.
I didn't even say I beat you. I said that the goals that I got are these little stupid clappers right in front of the net.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'm just, for the record, letting people know that Alex may score some clappers, but he knows who the real dominant dog is on NHL 21 between the both of us. So
yeah, not Zach. Anyways.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. What was it? 10-0, 8-4. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You need to get better internet there, buddy.
Oh, you're blaming my internet? Please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Homie, All right. Well,
okay.
We're going to continue this later. Anyways, so the Blue Jackets finished that game, and they played really well. The biggest stat, well, there's two. So one, the Blue Jackets only had 21 shots on goal that first game against Tampa. Not a lot. Tampa had 38, and they only got one goal. I'm okay with that. Elvis Merzlikins played out of his mind that game, made some really good stops. The one thing that impressed me, though, was I think this was the first game of the season. I haven't confirmed this, but I think this was the first game of the season. The Blue Jackets had 0 giveaways.
Wow.
And
0?
we have had some games that have been terrible. On my other podcast, CBJ After the Blast, I talk about it a lot. After every game, I go into the stats. And there are some games where we're having 14, 15, 18, 19 giveaways. It's absolutely ridiculous. It makes no sense. And then they come in, they have 0. They also had 0 giveaways on Thursday's game against Tampa. Back-to-back games with 0 giveaways. Huh. That's the kind of stuff we need. And then they also have a ton of hits. And for the first time in God knows how long, as far as I can remember, the Blue Jackets actually had more shots on goal than the other team on Thursday.
Well, okay, here's my question. Why don't you guys like that every single night? Why is it only against Tampa? It's like you guys ramp up for Tampa and then just say forget it to everyone else. Like that's the only team you care about beating is Tampa. And you're kind of like whatever with everyone else.
I don't know.
It's wild. Like how would that happen?
I don't get it. I think there's a lot of Blue Jackets fans that have differing opinions. All right. Our big rival is the Penguins, or our big rival is the Capitals because the Penguins already have Philadelphia, or, we should be rivals with Detroit, which I think we should. But
I don't know why not. It's only like a 4-hour drive. Like, how do you not already?
Well, I still don't understand how Detroit is in the Atlantic Division and then we're in the Metro, and we're like 3 hours away from each other. It doesn't make any sense to me. But
well, because they don't want to move Boston out and get rid of the Boston Canadian rivalry and the Boston and the Toronto rivalry. So
there's a simple solution: get Carolina. They're already in the Atlantic. Put Carolina in the Atlantic Division and move Detroit to the Metro. Problem solved. Problem solved. Because why we have Carolina? I get some of the other Metro teams with, the New York teams, and then you have Washington. I understand those because you can't have 17 teams all in one area, all be in the same division. I understand that. But why we have Carolina and why we don't have Detroit makes no sense to me. But aside from the fact of that, I thoroughly believe right now for the next couple of years, our big rival is going to be Tampa. And it has been. Since the 2019 season, we got obliterated by them in the regular season every time. And then we come out and sweep them in the playoffs, which nobody saw coming. And then every game since then has been one of my favorite games to watch. It's always been really cool to watch those games against Tampa over the last, 2 years? So it's been really cool watching those games because they're physical. Talk about physical game.
You guys hate each other. Like, it's wild how like teams are so far apart, hate each other so much.
Well, I think a lot of that this year has lent to the Blue Jackets were so tired of, especially the fans, me included. We're tired of losing in the first round, and whatever team beat us ends up winning the Stanley Cup. The first time the team that beat us did not win the Stanley Cup was in 2019 when we lost to Boston in the second round. They went to the finals, but they ended up losing to St. Louis.
Yeah.
That's the first time. Every other time, the 2 times we lost to Pittsburgh in the first round, they won the Stanley Cup. That was their, 16-17 back-to-back year. Then the year after that, we lost to Washington in the first round. They end up going to win the Stanley Cup. In 08-09, we lost. We got swept by Detroit. That's the year they won the Stanley Cup. Like it's been frustrating because every single time we get in, whoever beats us goes to the finals. And there's been one season where that team didn't win the Stanley Cup.
Are you sure it was? I remember I thought it was the Red Wings that knocked out the Hawks in 08-09 to go win the Cup because that was them in Pittsburgh. That was their swap years. So it wasn't Detroit.
I'm going to double check that, but I'm fairly confident.
I remember Pittsburgh and Detroit played each other in like back-to-back seasons in the Cup final. Because I remember the Hawks, because the Hawks got good in 08-09 and we lost to the Red Wings in the playoffs. So I know Detroit and Pittsburgh played each other in back.
Yeah, it was the 2009
So
playoffs, and we lost first round to the Detroit Red Wings.
Oh, was that 09? Was that 09-10 then? What?
No, I don't know. I think it was the 08-09 season, so it technically would have been the 2009 playoffs.
Huh.
Either way.
Yeah, either way.
It's frustrating to see that, we continuously lose to these teams, and it's really annoying, but there's not much we can do. So I think that's kind of lending a helping hand to being such a big game all the time, such a rival. That's why I think this season last season before it was canceled, I think we had 2 games against Tampa that was going to be on NBC Sports. And this season, I think we had 1 or 2.
Yeah. And I think the whole thing with what Kurashev did in the playoffs too, with that boarding that was unnecessary. I think there's a lot of bad blood between both teams just because of a bunch of shenanigans.
It was entirely unnecessary. Kucherov comes up and obliterates Marcus Nudavara into the boards, which he was already falling, and then knees him in the head. Okay, well then he gets suspended for game 3 and then comes back game 4. And, I'll be honest, we weren't playing the best Tampa team in 2019 because Kucherov was out for game 3. Victor Hedman was out for, I think, the first 3 games with an injury or something. He was out for a game or 2 at least with an injury. He ended up, I think, came back in game 4. I don't really remember.
Yeah.
Regardless, some of their guys were not there. They were hurt or they were out for a game. So the entire time. Now we still dominated them because Steven Stamkos barely did anything. Braden Point barely did anything. Nikita Kucherov barely did anything. Yeah. So it was awesome. But still, at the same time, last year, that was a healthy Tampa team. And we still ended up taking first game, 5 overtimes, 6.5 hours later.
Yeah.
And then, the rest of the series, even though they won 3 of the next 4, it was still a close series the entire time.
Yeah. I think it's just because of the fact that everything that's happened the last few years in the playoffs between you guys, both teams just hate each other because of unnecessary on ice stuff. And the fact that you guys embarrassed them after basically an historic season.
Yeah. I think that plays a huge factor into it because they were supposed to win the Stanley Cup. They were supposed to go 16-0 in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think everyone was predicting them to win the whole thing, and you guys, after the first period, swept them in every single game. It's just that's how wild it was. So yeah, it's just crazy. Whenever you guys face them, it's always close, but then it's everyone else.
Yeah, they've slowly became my favorite game to watch when the Blue Jackets play them. Obviously, I like watching the Blue Jackets when they play the Blackhawks, even though F Patrick Kane because he continuously destroys us. Same thing with the Penguins. Jake Gensel kills us all the time, no matter what. But you
have to agree though, Patty Kane is pretty nice, and you would love to have him on your team because it's Patty Kane.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll go on record saying it. Everyone on the planet hates Brad Marchand. I would take him on my team in a heartbeat.
Who wouldn't? Because
he is very good. He's a good penalty killer, but he is such a little pest. He won't go away. I would love him on my team. Now, Tom Wilson?
No.
Sorry.
No, I think Tom Wilson is mutually hated, and no one even wants him on their team.
No way. I'm sorry. There's no way. Is he a good hockey player? He's okay. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's an NHL level player. Obviously, he's good.
I don't know anyone that can defend him. I don't know how Capitals fans still defend this guy. I don't get it. They're oh, you would want him if he was on your team? No. No one wants him.
Marchand, yes. Stop the licking and cheap shots, and we're good. Two things. All right. From a Blue Jacket standpoint, Brad Marchand still has to pay. There's 2 things. 1, breaking Cam Atkinson's stick in the playoffs. He still needs to pay for that. Not as much. Second, his little cheap shot punch to the back of Scott Harrington's head in the playoffs.
That was dumb.
Here's what blew my mind. He did that in front of Boone Jenner. Boone Jenner saw it. Dude, I would have dropped gloves and beat the crap out of him right then and there. Yeah, I would not have cared. That is so uncalled for. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it wasn't a little like soft touch. He didn't like rear back and just sucker punch him, but he still hit him really hard in the back of the head. Like, dude,
it was still enough for him to get his head jostled.
Like, you're wearing an A for a reason. Do something about it. If not, there should have been a scrap at some point. But,
Or like what we talked about with Corey. Time for some line brawls because that some unspoken rules in hockey. We complain about unspoken rules in baseball, but the unspoken rules in hockey actually make sense because hockey's the best sport. Come at me. I don't care. People can say the NFL's better and basketball. No, hockey's the best sport. Get over it. It is. You come at me.
Yeah.
I'm defending hockey all day of the week. Greatest sport ever. And the unwritten rules in hockey, better than any other sport.
Yeah.
Can't change my mind.
Yeah.
But and Boone should have dropped gloves.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. There's not much we can do about it now, but there's one thing I'm still waiting for is to see Nick Foligno and Steven Stamkos go at it. Because since Crazy Eye Foligno came out in Game 4 of the playoffs, when Stamkos cheap shot at him and punched him in the face, every single time we've played, it's been, at least last season, Stamkos wasn't there. So we were playing him. Foligno couldn't do anything. Yeah. Now he's back. I want those two to just go all out. You know what? Opening face-off. Drop gloves. Center ice. Let's have some fun with it. Go at it.
Why not?
We want to see this. We want to see you two deal with the nonsense from the playoffs that you have not, neither of you have paid for yet. It needs to happen, and it needs to happen now. We just want the entertainment. I'm sorry.
Please give us the drama. We love hockey drama.
Drama. I don't want drama. I just want to see Steven Stamkos get his face bashed in and Nick Foligno to get his two raccoon eyes again.
Why not both?
Yeah.
Are you not entertained?
Why not? But
why not? Yeah. As Steve Dingle will say, why not?
Might as well, right? Why not?
Yeah, right. Why not? Look at us.
So the Blue Jackets have 2 more games coming up against Florida, and I'm a little nervous about those.
Oh, geez.
Hopefully Patrick Hornquist, if somebody is listening in Florida, feel free to go cut his brake lines. I'll pay you. I don't want him playing.
I don't condone this, so don't bring me into some bad juju, Alex. Calm down. We are a pro non-hurting people podcast.
I never said hurt him. I just said cut his brake lines. I don't want him to play against us because he's been killing us every game. Okay, just get it over with. And same thing with Bobrovsky. Just make him sick or something. I don't care. I don't want to deal with this.
Jeez. Calm down, sir.
So over the last, let's say, couple games at this point, it's been 2. I have been very pleased with our newest addition. Mikko Lehtinen has been a force already. This kid is fitting in immediately with the Blue Jackets defense. He's been playing on a line with Dean Kukin, and he looks fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So I brought this up on my other podcast before. I have been in the shoes of, all right, well, we have Michael Del Zotto. We need to keep him. Now, not so much. I am okay with getting rid of him. Mikko Lehtinen needs to stay. 100% needs to stay. This kid he has incredible hockey vision. He's very good at being a defenseman. He has great body positioning, great stick. He's so good. And this is he's only played 11 now NHL games. It's crazy. It's crazy to me.
Hey, it's nice move by you guys to get him from Toronto. I mean, can't beat that at all. So I mean, Yarmo, he just knows European guys. I guess he's just a European whisperer. Because why not?
He sure is.
Europe, Russia. Yarmo knows what he's doing, man.
We're slowly going to become Team Finland at some point. I'm telling you what. He keeps getting all these Finnish players.
Stay away from Lankinen. He is not for sale.
None of your business. That is none of your business. We'll take whoever we want. Yarmo gets what Yarmo wants. Okay.
You stay away from my Finnish goalie. Dang it.
No.
He's our goalie. We need a goalie. You have 15 million goalies.
No, I don't care. Yarmo, do it. Just to make Zach mad.
I will drive to Columbus and fight you myself.
Go ahead, Yarmo. Trade a 2027 7th round pick for Kevin Lankinen straight up. All day.
That reminds me, because I called you, was it yesterday or something like that, on NHL 21 sidebar. The Jackets sent a trade on NHL 21 to the Blackhawks that I do. What was it? Elvis and a 7th rounder for a 3rd and a 4th in 2022.
It absolutely would never happen.
And I literally called you. I'm like, I know this is a video game, but I have to tell you this trade. We got the Ducks 7th and Elvis for a 3rd and a 4th in the 2021 draft. Yeah. And I called you. You were just like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Good thing this is NHL 21, because there's no way that you give up Elvis for 2 mid-round picks.
No, it would never happen. I thought it was really funny, but that's one of those things that
it's wild.
I would love to be in the room with, Yarmo, but any general manager when it comes to the trade deadline, and kind of learning all that stuff. That would be awesome. But
they have to have at least 9 phones on their desk and having chat rooms all over the place on their computers open.
Their Skype is going crazy.
At that point, you're just you have to have all 32, all the other 30 GMs on your laptop, just ready to go. Hey, you ready for a move? Let's do it. Because it's going to be a wild day.
So before we go ahead and wrap up the Blue Jackets segment here, there are 2 other things that I want to bring up. One, Bally Sports Ohio is now official. So it's Bally Sports General, but Bally Sports Ohio. I actually dig the graphics. A lot of people are hating on it, but they look really good.
They look clean, in my opinion, because I know we got them in Cleveland for Bally Sports Great Lakes.
It's super weird though, because I'm so used to watching Fox Sports Ohio with Brian Giesenslaw, and before it was Bill Davidge, now it's Jean-Luc Grandpierre, and I'm so used to hearing the Fox Sports Ohio music and seeing the graphics and seeing them. And then yesterday, all of a sudden, I see Brian Giesenslaw and Jean-Luc Grandpierre, a completely different setup with Bally Sports branding everywhere. I'm like, this is super awkward. Yeah. The graphics I can get used to. It's going to take some getting used to seeing those two sitting in front of all the BSO stuff. It was really weird.
The question is it all red and white like how it is with Bally Up, or is it still Jackets themed in the back? Because I'm not in Ohio, so I don't really get.
I'm expecting it to change. It was a lot of just the generic Bally Sports branding. But again, it was the first day for Blue Jackets, and it was their second day in general doing this. So I'm assuming it'll change and get more general or more specific towards whoever they're broadcasting at that point in time. But it was really weird.
That has to be a lot of weird being a Blue Jackets thing, and it's all you see is just red and white behind you. You're like, am I watching a Red Wings coverage right now?
Come on, put the Blue Jacket stuff on. I want dark mode back. I want dark mode. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, give me the navy and the red, not this red and white Detroit Red Wings nonsense. We're not in Detroit. I don't think it's no one needs to see that.
Yeah,
I don't think people in Detroit want to see that.
So I know I've done a little bit of it, but just a quick recap of our 2 games coming up this weekend. We are playing the Florida Panthers Saturday and Sunday. We have a nice little back-to-back. The game on Saturday is going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern. Game on Sunday is 6 p.m. Eastern. Mm-hmm. If we can split, I'm okay.
Right.
I know we're going to lose one of the games. Most likely, we have a good chance at both of them. But if we can split, honestly, I'm okay, because the stuff we've done, especially the little bit of success we had against Carolina, not Detroit, the little bit we had against Tampa, I feel optimistic about the next couple weeks. I think a very big series for us coming up, ironically enough, is going to be the Jackets and Hawks next weekend. That is going to be a massive series for both teams. 100%. That's going to be a series that has major playoff implications regardless.
Yeah, because you're talking 4-point swings with every game, because you lose one, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Even if you get a point, you're still in trouble. Because the fact that Nashville has come out of nowhere to make things interesting, which I'm not a fan of right now, because they should have stayed in their lane, play for the sixth spot with Dallas, because that's what they've been doing all season. Now all of a sudden, past game 30, oh, we're gonna play hockey now. And you're like, where the heck have you been all season? And now you're gonna just show up and ruin already a tough battle for the 4 spot, and now you actually want to make some noise. Now it's like, go back into your lane of playing mediocre hockey and playing against Dallas, who everyone thought was supposed to be good.
That's just
go back.
They're the Meg of the NHL. Just go away, Meg. No one likes you, Meg. Go away.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd rather be Dallas making some noise, because they were actually a good team last year. They actually did something. Nashville's done absolutely nothing, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, we're going to show up now. Just can you just go away? Can you just leave? Can you just go back to where you were? Like, we don't need to deal with you right now. Yeah. And for the fact that they're in it all of a sudden, it's like, all right, great, thanks. I love the storyline of one of our teams getting in, and now you have this third wheel coming in and like ruining it for everybody. Like,
it's frustrating for sure, but with these 2 games coming up against Florida, we need to focus on those.
Yeah,
only one game at a time. But I think our biggest thing is if we can shut down their top line and then kind of penetrate their top line of defense, I think we'll be okay. If we can keep Hornquist to 0 points, and same thing with Huberdeau and Barkov. If he's back, I don't know if he's going to be back or not.
Barkov's out for the rest of the season.
No, you're thinking of Ekblad.
Sorry.
So this is where I'm. If Florida is not able to kind of compensate for Aaron Ekblad being out, that could be a big downfall for them. But if we can shut down Barkov and Huberdeau and Hornquist, then I think we'll be okay. But
and you got to hope that Drager and Bob aren't on top of their game, which they've been for some reason all season.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting. And then of course we got Nashville for the random 1-game series, and then I know we got someone else, but I'm looking for next weekend's the big one, like you said, because that's a lot of points that are gonna be up for grabs, because especially with Nashville in the picture now.
Yeah,
you really can't drop games.
No,
even if it's against both of us or other teams. Now that Nashville's in the picture and they're on a streak right now, you basically can't drop games now.
No, tell me about it.
Not this late in the season. Like I know we're gonna probably talk about it with Duke in the Blackhawks segment coming up, but like at this point, it's you really just with the Preds doing something.
Yeah,
you really just can't waste. They like we had a lead on you guys. You guys had a lead on Nashville, and now they're all of a sudden in the picture.
Yeah. It's irritating.
I don't like this.
I don't like any of it at all, but
I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah. So anyways, guys, that's going to go ahead and wrap up our Blue Jackets segment. We will be back here in just a second with our Blackhawks segment. Have a good day, and we'll talk to you here in a minute.
You're listening to the Cannons and Tomahawks podcast. Here are your hosts, Zach Martin and Alex Nuttall.
What is going on, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Cannons and Tomahawks podcast. I am Zach Martin, and always with me is Alex Nuttall. Alex, man, how are you doing tonight?
Hello, I'm doing good. How are you, Zach?
Oh my gosh, doing good, man. Excited tonight. We got a special guest with us from On Tap Sports, and you can hear him on a bunch of other podcasts like On Tap, Bulls, On Tap Bears, and all that good stuff. And one of the dudes in Crankham Nation or Crackham Nation is Duke. Duke, man, how are you doing tonight? Thank you for coming on the show tonight.
I'm feeling good, man. I'm glad you brought up the Crackham because I do have my Guinness right here. I'm also part of Just Fucking Crank It Nation because that is probably one of my favorite nations currently going today.
Yeah, I'm all aboard the Crank It Nation. For those who don't know, if you follow Four Feathers podcast, you know, Johnny and I and those guys, and we had Johnny on a few weeks back, and we have this really cool thing that all of us are all part of now. I mean, I'm just an honorary member just because it's so cool to be a part of this nation, but you know, about the clappers, one-timers, and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's Crank 'em Nation. Of course, you got to crack them. I'm rolling with the Voodoo Ranger Captain Dynamite IPA. So that's what I'm drinking tonight. Alex,
yeah, that's fancy.
Yeah, right. Alex, what are you drinking tonight, my dude?
I have something that I haven't had before. It's a Lost Coast Brewery Tangerine Wheat Ale that I found at the gas station when I was going to get my Monster earlier. So
there you go.
I was like, you know what? I'm kind of tired of drinking Miller Lite all the time. So let's get something and make me feel kind of fancy. So Chad and all the guys from Garage Beers, I have a little bit of class. Not much, but I have some. Trust me.
Hey man, can't go wrong with the gas station craft beer.
No.
Hey, right. Well, the funny thing is, my C store, my gas station near me, actually has a lot of domestics and foreign beers, and luckily they have the 6-pack of the Voodoo Ranger, so that's my usual go-to. Yeah, big shout out to Garage Beers because they always tell what they're drinking, so we have to pay a little bit of homage to those guys. And if you haven't been on Twitter today, I would suggest you get on that and look up what's going on with Brandon Dubinsky and the whole situation. So that was just fantastic. But
yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like when I went and picked this up, dude, this thing was right next to the Four Locos. So I'm trying to decide if I really want to just drink a normal beer or I want to end my life by the end of the night. So we'll see.
Well, if we were talking like Four Locos in like in the early 2010s, sure. Now, not so much because they're not the uppers and downers like they used to be when I was in college, where it was like energy drink and the beer mix before they banned it. So.
Yeah, back when it was just straight death, you know, like death in a can.
Yeah, I had one and I was pretty much done. I know some guys who had like 2 or 3 of those and ended up in the woods, sandals gone. It's like three in the afternoon and they're finally like waking 2% up.
2% alcohol with water and cocaine. That's all it is.
It's basically what it was back then. Yeah, it's wild. So big news dropped today before the podcast started. Definitely had to bring this up. Duke, man, Vinny Henstros is coming back to the Blackhawks. How are you feeling about that, man?
I mean, it's still kind of sinking in because I was a little late to the news, obviously, because I was working on my car before the episode. Yeah. But man, if this doesn't scream Stan Bowman, I don't know what does. Like this is like one of the most like Stan Bowman moves ever. It's like a Marcus Kruger trade type thing going on right now.
You know, at least it wasn't our Timmy Panarin going to get Brandon Saad back for like the second stint and all that stuff. So I mean, not a Brandon Peary situation or an Andrew Shaw situation. I mean, I'm just waiting for us to bring Hjalmarsson back. Go get Brandon Saad back and during free agency in this offseason. Why not? Like, let's just go get everybody back at this point.
Well, I mean, dude, it's like just getting the boys club back together. That's what it is. It's like the boys club madness. It's like bringing back like a guy like Patrick Sharp way past his prime, you know. But I mean, I guess I don't totally hate the move. Vinny's he's a Chicago kid, so I mean, it's
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, he only played like 9 games this year for Florida and stuff like that with like no points. I mean, we give a Brad Morrison for him, ECHL guy who really you think is like he may or may not make it, but as much of a low sell that was to get Vinny back. I mean, I liked Vinny. I mean, he had a good career with us. I think the last time we had him, he got like almost 40-something points back from like a couple seasons ago. So I mean, it's not a bad move. I mean, it's a depth forward that we need right now because our offense has gone stiller than sliced bread at this point, honestly.
Yeah, and it really feels like our lines are super top heavy right now. I mean, especially I saw the tweet earlier today talking about Doc, Kane, and DeBrincat being on the same line, which, you know, that sounds explosive. That sounds awesome. But with kind of our lack of forward depth as it is right now, that just is so much overkill on the top line. And it kind of reminds me of back when we were winning cups, you know, we kind of tried to avoid putting Taze and Kane on the same line even because it just came off as overkill. You know, it's nice to have that offense on the ice, but when that offense isn't clicking, the rest of your lines are just lacking that true like scorer, true playmaker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real. And I'm trying to go back and see what it was because I know it was some wild like lines that I saw, but The crazy thing with two is getting his jersey back. It's only like $1 million on the cap hit. And it's for like this season. So it's really not even that bad of a pickup because it's only $1 million to the cap and it's this year.
Yeah.
So
that's definitely going to be a good rental for you guys, and if you re-sign him, great. He's 26 years old. Like, it's not like he's 50. So, it couldn't hurt you guys at all, especially with some of the struggles you're dealing with right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining about it. It's just it's a very Stan Bowman move. Like, that's immediately a lot of what I got from any of the Hawks fans that I know. I know one of the guy, Pat Kamitsky, that works with On Tap too. I know he just definitely loved the move because he's such a huge Stan Bowman fan. But
yeah.
But I mean, we're at a point in the season where it can't hurt to try. It's a very low risk, possibly high reward move. And he's a guy that's worked with these skaters before. He's familiar with some of the longtime guys that have been around here. And it's not bad to take a shot at like you said, a $1 million contract that we're familiar with.
Yeah. So this is from Charlie Romero-Leotis back from about 7 hours ago. So this is the lines of practice: DeBrincat, Doc Kane, Kubalik, Camp, Kurashev, Janmark, Suter, Strome, Highmore, Soderberg, and Carpenter. I don't know what the deal is with David Kampf being on the second line, but I am not on board with this. Like, really? David Kampf?
So
why is this dude on the second line? He's not a second line center.
So you're saying you don't like the lines that you guys are getting?
I'd rather have Kubalik, Strome, and Kurashev together.
If you don't like mixed up lines, I know the perfect coach for the Chicago Blackhawks.
Do not even talk about Tortorella.
Oh God.
We're most of Blackhawks Nation's like half on board, half off board with Jeremy Carlton as it is. No, we get Tortorella on this team. Oh my gosh, we would just have fights every night on Blackhawks Twitter about these lines.
He's not in Columbus anymore, so I wouldn't be upset.
Dude, sorry, what was that, dude?
No, I was gonna say the thing with Colleton is like what makes it so complicated is like sometimes it's all kind of how you see it. Like, do you see this as a team you want to win now, or is this a team that you want to see win like in 2 to 3 years? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
right.
I feel like a lot of the people who defend Jeremy are the ones who want to look at the bigger picture, and the ones who don't like Jeremy are the ones that want to win right now, which I understand the argument to both sides.
Yeah.
I've just kind of accepted defeat especially with that contract extension, that we're just kind of we're kind of locked with this guy for the time being, unless he really messes things up. But one thing that does kind of drive me nuts about him is looking at lines like this. Like, like you said, I wouldn't mind seeing Strome go in the middle to work with a Kubalik and Kurashev, especially with how well Strome's been seeing the puck lately.
Yeah, exactly. Like, ever since he became a dad, he's putting the pucks in the net. Dude, dad strength. Put him. Why? He's a center. Why are we playing him on a wing on the third line? Like, you put him with Kurashev and Kub. Dude, that's a lethal second line right there. Like, why would you not want to roll with that? Like, it just makes no sense. Like, I know you don't want to overstack lines, but Dylan Strome as a winger on the third line makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And like what you were saying earlier about, when now, when in the future, me and Alex have talked about it. It's like the Hawks are in a weird spot. Like, we're not like the Hurricanes, the Panthers, and the Lightning. We know we're not going to go very far in the playoffs. It is what it is. I mean, you put us up in a 5-game series with Tampa. If we're a 4 seed, no, we're probably in trouble. Like, if the Panthers were the actual team that we all thought they were going to be, where they're going to be in the bottom of this division, and like we're fighting for like a third spot possibly, then yeah, I could probably see the Hawks maybe doing something to the Hurricanes at the 2 spot, because we've been playing really well against them.
Yeah, I mean,
the Panthers have thrown this all out of whack, because it's like, do you really want to fight for the 4 spot?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I guess the biggest thing that really kind of gives me any optimism heading towards the playoffs is kind of really coming out of nowhere last year and beating Edmonton. I think, and honestly, I feel like we gave Vegas a pretty good fight. It just showed how lacking of depth we were, especially with our defensive pairings.
Oh, for sure.
And, in our scoring options as well, it felt like Jonathan Toews was kind of carrying the load, and then Kane carried it towards the end of the series. But by then we were just so deep in the hole. Yeah. I think guys like Suter, guys like Kurashev, that have kind of came on, I'm still not totally convinced Janmark's going to make it till the end of the year. I could see him definitely getting moved at the deadline. But,
I see him going to a potential like contender because I like Janmark, but I don't think he's going to go very far. Yeah, with the Swiss connection that we have with Kurashev and Suter, like it's fantastic how those guys have been playing so well for us. And you even got like Brandon Hagel, who unfortunately went to the COVID list today. He's been doing really well too, and it's just like all of our young guys have been playing so well, and you can see. Like Patrick Kane's loving playing with his team right now because we have all these young guys who are stepping up, and no one thought we were going to be where we're at, before this little skid. This past month we went like 5, 8, and whatever it was. I'm glad March is over, but it's like this team is a lot farther ahead than we thought they were going to be, and it's fantastic. And how about Alex DeBrincat? Like 19 goals already this year. Like the kid, he's back. Like his swagger's back. Like. I'm so glad Alex is doing so well. Like this team is exciting to watch, but the last couple of weeks though, dude, it's been rough. Like, I don't know what happened to our offense, and our power play is absolute trash. Like, yeah,
which I mean, that's kind of something we're hoping that's just kind of like we're in a rut. But I thought actually Johnny made a really good point over on Four Feathers the other night when he was talking about how often they're using Kane and DeBrincat in the slot, and they're not really going to anybody else in the power play in those spots. And that is something that is kind of concerning because you have guys like Kurashev, you have Doc who just came back, you have Janmark, you have Strome. These are guys who could play in those roles as well in the power play. Like I don't want Jeremy to get too gung-ho with who he wants on the power play at all times. I think there's enough scores to be able to plug and play, Yeah,
even Kubalik too. Like Kubalik has got a bomb shot. Like, dude, let him crank it from his spot, where it's just basically in the OV's office, but now it's Kubi's office. Let him shoot it, crank it from the dot, put it in the net. That's what he does. That's what he was good at last year. How are you gonna have Kubalik doing it? It's just like we're still somehow tied for second on the power play, but it is just wherever it has been for the last couple weeks, ever since like that Predators series and against Dallas too. It's just been. I don't know what's going on, man. Like our power play has just gone stone cold.
That Dallas series was absolutely brutal. Like I felt like that took out so much wind out of our sails. Like we get Kane's thousandth game. That was like a big deal. We all thought, the guys are gonna play juiced up for this one. They ended up going and getting smoked.
Yeah, that 6-1 game, and I'm just sitting there going like, oh please. Please do not let this be a start of something that's going to happen. And unfortunately, it has been because then that Tampa Florida series just absolutely did nothing. Like Florida was just an absolute like. I'm so ready for us to not play those teams anymore once we get back to the East and Western Conference stuff. Because right now, with having those guys in the Central Division, I am not liking this right now. Like I'm ready to have me and Alex had a therapy session like the last 2 episodes because I am not mentally okay with the fact that these Florida teams are absolutely just giving it to us. Like I don't know, man. It's wild where we're at right now. Last night's game too. Like, did you catch the game at all last night? Because I know you probably watched it late, right? Did you
yeah. I watched a bit of the highlights near the end of the night.
That last night was just a weird night. Like, just I think like the puck was going off at everybody and in the net. Like, I don't think anyone had a clean goal at all last night.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a greasy type of game, and it seems like that's almost when we're playing at our best. Unfortunately, it seems like it's those games that we're kind of trying to force the issue, try to force any deflection, anything in front of the net, kind of to go in. And Lankinen couldn't catch a break with a lot of those either.
You can't blame him for any of those goals. Honestly,
yeah, no, it's been rough defensively, and it has been. And one of the points I made on Twitter was like, why are we just coming out flat so consistently? Because when we end up having to play from behind so often, which we have been, almost like the last month, like you said, thank God March is over. Hopefully this is on to something else.
I hope so.
But like it seems like the guys just aren't ready to go at puck drop. And then by the time they are ready to go, we're playing from behind. We're trying to force something as soon as possible. And kind of similar to what happened, we finally end up tying the game, but then they immediately score right after that. It's almost like we become satisfied once we put points on the board.
Yeah. So. And then of course then they get a goal with like 28 seconds left and but now we've got a pointer. I mean, luckily the Predators and the Jackets also lost, but it's kind of like the Predators should have never been put back in that position to be fighting for a 4 spot. Like, you told me a month ago, we're up on the Jackets by Alex, what was it, like 8 points or something like that? Like, we had a decent lead on you guys for the 4 spot before March.
I don't know if it was 8. It was probably 6 but
yeah, I think it was like 6 or 7, something like that.
It was enough for a lot of Blue Jackets fans to kind of be nervous about it.
Yeah.
To be honest.
And then Nashville was like, what, 3 behind you guys as well? Like, Nashville was enough out of it where it's like, okay, we don't have to worry about Nashville or Dallas. Yeah, now Nashville's on a freaking heater, and the Hawks and the Jackets are both just crap in the bed. And now Nashville out of nowhere is part of this 3-team race for the 4 spot. I'm like, this never should have happened. We should never let them back into this fight for the 4 spot. This
year has just been weird on so many levels. Especially like with the Central, you have the Blackhawks. We're supposed to be at the bottom. They are where they are. The Blue Jackets were supposed to be at the top. They are where they are. And then
the Panthers,
Panthers.
They're ruining everything. Like, they ruined this whole division.
Literally, the Panthers, all of this, that should have happened in 2020 when the whole year sucked. Okay, yeah. So that should have happened last year. So that way it would have been, oh, well, the whole year sucks. It's fine. It's a 2020 thing. Whatever. Now it's no. Now you're acting like you're supposed to be good. Let's stop. I don't want to deal with that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of the one thing with Nashville I've noticed over the past few weeks is their power play is kind of taken off, which is ironic because starting out the year and for most of the beginning part of the year, their power play was outrageously bad. Mm-hmm. But something has just kind of clicked lately, and that's ended up being most of their goals and most of the games they've played is going on to the power play.
It's wild. It's just crazy. And yeah, like no one, like if you like you, I don't know if you listen to our one of our early episodes, like very at the beginning, I even said like if the Blackhawks, like I'm going into the season as I want to see how good our young guys get. If we get wins, if we finish at least 6 at the best, I'll be happy with it because it's something. We're not dead last. We're not in the bottom 5 of the league. We're somewhere. I'm okay with that. And I'm like, I'll be realistic. Without Doc, without Taze, we have who knows what we're gonna do with our goalies. I'm fine with whatever we get as long as we're not dead last in the division. We're bottom 5 in the league, and we've been in 4th for almost the entire year. We've been in the 4 spot. I'm like, all right. Great. If we make the playoffs, fantastic. Then we're kind of ahead of schedule. We're still not top 2 in the division. But we can at least say, hey, look at that. We did better and we can build off this. So I was trying to be realistic, but now it's kind of like, are we coming back to earth? Because that's kind of bad. Like we've been doing so well all season. Then like we hit game 30 and now we're just sliding backwards. And luckily, Lankinen's been keeping us in almost all these games. I don't even count last night as his fault because nothing you can do with the defense and just weird goals. But I mean,
I'll say if you put the right skaters in front of Kevin Lankinen, like wins are going to happen. Like it's
for sure.
If we can take anything, like no matter what happens moving forward, if we can take anything out of this season, it's that there's a very good chance we have the future in the net, and that is
thank goodness.
Yeah, and that was the biggest thing. That was what got everyone so upset. That's what got the core 4 upset when Corey Crawford ended up leaving. When there really wasn't a conceded effort to actually bring him back, everyone was like, well, what's happening? Are we going to blow this thing up? Like, are we actually going to try to make a run at this? Like, are we going for another goalie? And, we sat on our hands. I mean, I was always a fan of Kevin Lankinen, like, especially with what he did in the, World Hockey Championships. Like some of the performances he's had over there was just absolutely insane.
Yeah. He went like 7-1 or 8-1 with like a 1-5, like goals against and won a gold medal for Team Finland. Yeah. That was wild. Yeah. I'm all for this, but you come into this like as the 3rd goalie.
Yeah, I didn't even think he was going to get a chance. Like I thought we were going to stick with Subban and Delia until the absolute end of the earth.
Gosh.
And then maybe eventually near the end of the season, Kevin Lankinen was going to happen. Because I even talked to Nani about this, and he didn't think Lankinen was going to play. And it wasn't lack of talent why he didn't think he was going to play. It was that they were going to try to make Subban work because they made that trade. They were going to try to make Colin Delia work because of his, previous experience down in Rockford. But man, I always thought like if you give Kevin Lankinen out there and you give him a real fucking chance, you give him a chance to play his brand of hockey and actually take on like NHL level shooters, because he faced some of the best shooters in the world in the in the championships.
Yeah,
like
Russia,
he's shown
Canada,
he can do it.
Yeah. Where you're playing a fully stacked Team Russia, a fully stacked Canada team, the United States, and you go in a gold and you're letting in sub 2 goals against. Why would you not start this guy? I've said this on other episodes. The Subban extension makes absolutely no sense. Why are we giving this guy who played for 5 minutes of one game for us a 2-year extension? Never used him in the playoffs in the bubble at all, and we traded for him. He plays 5 minutes. Why are we extending this guy? If you want to extend him, give him a 1-year extension. A 2-year makes no sense. And then Delia. Yeah, he did play for most of the season. What was it, 2 years ago when Corey missed like the last half of the season because of his concussion? And even then, I mean, he did his best, but he still got let up because, our defense was for the last 2 years bottom in the league. And it's just, I'm so glad we have Kevin, like you said. If anything else, we have Lankinen for the future. I'm all for this Lanks for Calder thing that I'm trying to get going on Twitter, because let's be honest, if it wasn't for Kevin Lankinen, we would not be where we're at right now, because Delia hasn't played since like the first week of the season because Kevin is like, no, you ain't taking my spot. And Subban's had like what, maybe 5 good games for us.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we need out of Subban at this point. Like I've even found people on Twitter who like kind of talked about there even being some sort of competition there. And it's like, no, like get it straight. He's a guy who comes in when Kevin Lankinen needs a break. He is not a guy who will ever actually start over Kevin Lankinen when both of them are at 100%.
It's not even close to being a competition. All you have to do is look at numbers. Kevin Lankinen, 26 games started. Malcolm Subban, 10. Colin Delia, 2. Like there's zero competition here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, look at the goals against. Look at the save percentage. Like I think Lankinen's save percentage is like in the 9/10s, and I think Subban's maybe in the low 9s, almost in the upper 8/9s.
Lankinen's sitting at 920. Subban sitting at 903.
There you go, 920.
So Lankinen's goals against is 271. Subban is 314. Like. There's no competition here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that 271 is because of, unfortunately, was 4 goals last night, and the defense has been absent for the last month. So I mean, at one point his goals against was 2-4, 2-5, even lower maybe. So I mean, his 271 is just because the defense just absolutely disappeared on him the last month. So yeah, there's no competition for this goalie. It's Lankinen's job, and we need to extend him long term. It just has to happen.
Well, here's some stats for you, and it's probably the biggest thing that I'll always use to defend Kevin Lankinen. He's played in 26 games, and he has 883 shots on goal against him. Compare that to a guy like Philip Grubauer in Colorado. He's played in 30 games. He has 732 shots against him. So that the fact that Kevin Lankinen is having to save nearly 35 to 40 shots a night is absolutely outrageous. And the fact that he's still hovering at about a 920 save percentage with that many shots on goal is very impressive, especially with his lack of experience at 25 years old.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's no argument to why Kevin Lankinen doesn't deserve a Calder. Heck, you can almost put him in the Vezina race. I'm saying it right now. Stamp it for this podcast episode. Lankinen, he has to be one of the finalists for the Vezina. I don't care what anyone else says. When you have a rookie with a 920 save percentage like that, and the fact that he's a sub 3 goals against, and like you said, 800 something shots already, and 40 again. He had a 41 save shutout a week ago against Florida.
And that's
I'm sorry, what? 41 shot shutout. I want to know any other goalie that can stop 41 shots and get a shutout. You might give up 1 or 2 goals at the most.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure
shutout against Florida with a full squad minus Barkov.
Yeah, and how often are we we talked about a little bit earlier in the pod about how we end up playing from behind early in games, but how often are we giving up nearly 20 shots in the first freaking period? At least hovering around that 16 to 20, where Kevin maybe gives one up, but how can you really be mad at him because he's just facing a firing squad. As the Four Feather guys say, trial by fire almost every single night for Kevin Lankinen.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand people who can really push against his game. Like he's carried this team.
Yeah. As Johnny and those guys say.
And Patrick Kane. I want to
and Alex DeBrincat and stuff like that too. But cool, calm, collected Kevin Lankinen. And that's what Johnny and those guys say almost every episode, because that's what he is. Lank the tank. Is it a brick wall or is it Kevin Lankinen? I don't know. Is he the thing? Does he just morph into a brick wall? That's probably what he is too. He's got some fantastic 4 abilities, because that's what all he does for us. Like, I don't know any other guy that can pretend deserves maybe Kaprizov, because Kaprizov is going absolutely off right now for Minnesota, but I don't know any other guy right now that has a case for the Calder. I mean, Pius Suter does have I think he's like 1 goal behind Kaprizov, but I mean, Lankinen right now is on fire. Like, I don't know any other guy right now that deserves it more than he does and has a chance for a Vezina as a rookie.
Yeah, and
he's keeping us in every game. Every game is keeping us in it.
Yeah, and I think as time goes by and things kind of even themselves out, hopefully the Hawks go on a run here on the second half of the season, and then that kind of clears up some of the holes they consider in his game with maybe save percentage, even though that's still incredibly high. Goals average. But yeah, man, I think there's a real campaign there, and I think we should really get that hashtag going, because Lanks for Calder, I'm all on board with that.
Yeah.
And it'd be pretty cool to have two Calder Cup or 2 Calder Trophy winners in a row. So
yeah, right. That'd be fantastic. And it's just wild, because the fact we have that random 1-game series in Nashville tomorrow at like 3 p.m. I'm really hoping Lankinen starts that game, because at this point we need wins, because right now, with the fact that this is a 4-point swing, because if Nashville wins this game tomorrow, we're looking at a 4-point difference, and I'm not all for that, especially because we got Tampa and Florida also coming up soon, and Dallas. Honestly, man, you can't drop games at this point.
Lankinen's going to start, because you have 2 days off, and then you're at home against Dallas. There's no way he doesn't start.
I at this point, dude, you might agree or might not. I mean, you might agree. I think Lankinen for right now, if we have this like spacing of the schedule, start him almost every game, and if you have to give him like a rest after like 3 straight, then throw Subban in. But at this point, Lankinen has to be your starter almost every game from now for the rest of the season, because if you want to try and make the playoffs, which you're really fighting to play either Carolina or Tampa, you have to go with Lankinen if you're trying to make a playoff push. I mean, dude, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, and I think with the Vinny Hinostroza trade today, that kind of is, even if it's very minor, I think that's a sign that we do want to try to make a run, at this. And I think that is honestly probably the best move we can do. That's when goalies honestly end up playing at their best. Like I want to find a statistic of goalies playing multiple games in a row, even if they're tired, and just how well they end up playing in that specific run. And I think that's something Kevin Lankinen can really do, because when do we see goalies go off the most? It's in the playoffs. It's when they're playing every other day, every couple days. It hits a point where guys are it's impossible to bring somebody else in, like say Corey Crawford when he goes off in the playoffs. It hits a point where it's like it's impossible not to start Corey every night. Yeah, so I really want to see what Kevin Lankinen does under the odds, with this much pressure on him, playing every other day, when he's tired, when he's, drained, because that's what you're eventually going to want out of him. Like it feels like we have kind of been coddling him a little bit just because of how talented he's shown that he is. And that's not a shot at Kevin Lankinen at all. I don't know his toughness or anything.
No, he's a rookie. Yeah. I mean, you have to break him in.
Yeah. And he's 25. So he's young and he's going to be looked at as kind of the long-term option in front of the net. So it's somebody you want to keep healthy to a certain extent. But, you also want to see what he does under pressure. When Kevin Lankinen is 27 and we have a real team going on here and we need the guy in front of net to be lights out on a nightly basis, we need to see what Kevin Lankinen's made of. And I think this would be a good time to do it because, as we said a little bit earlier, this is a season that if we're not expecting a Stanley Cup. We're not expecting to have this insane playoff run. We just want to see what we have. We want to see what these guys are made of. We want to see what the Philip Kurashevs, the Puy Suiters, all these guys are made of moving forward. The Brendan Hagels, which Brendan Hagel, I didn't get to say it earlier, but I just love the fact that he does so many things on the ice that just don't show the box score.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, even like Wyatt Kalynuk's he had a good assist the other night and stuff like that. He's supposed to be really good. I'm excited for Ian Mitchell. Hopefully Boquist gets going and stuff like that too. Our young decor is going to be amazing when all those guys start clicking, and then all of our forwards are going to start clicking. Even the Hardman that we just signed from Boston College, who's already on the taxi squad. I'm excited for Mike Hardman to start running with us too. And we got Josiah Slavin just signed as well. That's Jacob Slavin's brother. Like, I'm excited for him too. Like, we might have a good core or a good young youth movement coming up with the Hawks. I'm excited for the future of this team. Like, however this year ends, if we make it, great. If not, no big deal. I'm just glad that we actually put in an effort to get into a spot where we have a shot for a playoff with this team, minus a Jonathan Taves, minus a Brett Seabrook retiring, guys being on the COVID list. Trying to figure out what our goalie situation is, which thank gosh we got a goalie that we're going to lean on. So one last thing before we let you go and stuff like that, we do have $21 million up in the cap now with Brent retiring, which is unfortunate. I love Brent. Sucks that I wish he was able to leave on his own terms rather than an injury to his hips bothering him that bad. So it sucks we lost Brent. But do you see the Hawks making a big move right now, or do you see more of we aren't going to make a deep run? There's no point of blowing up the cap for a potential rental or maybe an early exit. Do you kind of see us maybe doing something more in the off season, or how are you feeling with the trade deadline coming up here in a couple of weeks? Do you think the Hawks are going to make a move, or is it going to be let's just wait because where we're at compared to the rest of the divisions? Like,
I guess the one way I would probably put it, and it's the thing that probably complicates that entire question, is what are we going to do with Mattias Janmark? Because in all honesty, keeping Mattias Janmark could be seen as a trade deadline move in its own, because I feel like everyone had the expectation with him coming in that we were going to try to play him, try to get some good hockey out of him and try to sell him for whatever we could get. That's going to be the big tell. If we hold on to Mattias Janmark, we're trying to make a run. I could see that as us being honestly the first big move heading into next season, because if we keep Mattias around, we might end up bringing him back and thinking that's going to be the guy that's going to be part of what we have moving forward. If we move him, I don't see a huge move coming at the deadline. I think moving him would be that would be kind of a prospect move, possibly get some good young skaters in here. Also with Carl Soderberg, I think he is going to be kind of in that same conversation as well. And I really like what Soderberg has done, especially with the penalty kill. I think he's done some pretty good work. I think he's been very underrated signing. So I guess non-movement would probably be the biggest move to me. Yeah.
I could agree with that. Yeah, if we say we're not really going to make a move, we're going to keep all the guys, maybe run it back next year with this team, maybe go get a couple, hopefully Taser comes back. Maybe we make a couple signings, because then we got $21 million in the cap, and whoever else drops off from the cap, because we have a lot of guys on 1-year contracts, UFAs, what we can do with RFAs, and then see where we're at with the cap space and the draft and all that stuff, depending on where we fall at. I'm fine with a no move and just see how the offseason goes from there, especially with the expansion draft with Seattle. It's going to be this year as well. So that's another thing we got to worry about too, because who are we going to protect? Who are we not going to protect? Of course, you get the guys that are exempt and stuff like that too. So it's going to be interesting to see what this team does. I'm almost on board with what you're saying. Let's just see how next year goes with the expansion, how the draft goes, and see how free agency looks, and just run it back with this team, maybe with a couple extra pieces. Then you're talking about maybe a deep playoff run. And now we're going to be back to our normal divisions, and you're bringing in Arizona into the Central now because of Seattle going out to the Pacific. So you got Arizona, which is going to be fun to watch. So we get to see, Hammer back. We get to see, the Coyotes and all that, which is going to be fun. So I'm excited for the future, man.
Coyotes are a really exciting team. And I guess one point I do want to make before we end up wrapping things up is I'm really excited whether it happens this season or coming into next season. I feel like with what the youth movement has shown this year, I feel like when we do get a Jonathan Toews back, he's going to be one of them. He's going to be probably as motivated as he's ever been because he sees what the young players are doing. He sees what the depth is doing. He sees the young defenders. Obviously, he still has his man Duncan Keith skating back there because I'm convinced he's going to skate into his 50s.
Pretty much. Yeah, Duncan Keith is going to be here for. He's the Gordie Howe defenseman. He's just going to be here forever. I'm fine with. I love Dunks.
I love Duncan Keith. Like he's the man. Like that was, as a young Blackhawks fan watching this team be bad, that was one of the first guys that you saw, and it's like, oh, this guy's got some talent.
Yeah, man. I have a white Duncan Keith jersey with the A on it, so that's like one of the jerseys I wore probably the most. But I still have a Kaner and a Seabrook and a Taser. I plan on getting Lankinen, and I plan on getting DeBrincat and Doc and all those guys. But yeah, Dunks, especially like, hey, does anyone know a good dentist? Fantastic line. I love that. Like Dunks is so great. I love Duncan Keith. But yeah, getting Jonathan Toews back, man. I'm so excited for him because he knows that Kaner's loving playing with these guys because you can see Kane loves it every night. And of course, like you said, all the youth, all the guys we have coming up right now. I'm excited for the future of this team, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun for sure.
I really am too, man. And that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me watching the games. That's what keeps me really like, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Having to follow the game on Twitter while you're at work and then coming home, you're not always super excited to watch the game after you already know what happens. But watching these young guys play, like Brandon Hagel, I can't describe how much I love watching Brandon Hagel play hockey. Even if it's just like the most like normal hockey play in the world, you can tell he's going balls to the wall every time he does it. And that's the type of efforts you just love to watch.
Yeah, he's almost like an Andrew Shaw minus the dumb penalties. I love Andrew Shaw. I love Shawzy, but it's like he's like a Brandon Shaw who doesn't take dumb penalties, which we all know that's what Andrew Shaw does. But like I said, I love Shaw. I'm glad we got him back. Another one of those re-gets. But yeah, Brandon Hagel is that guy who will put in the effort in, but he's going to draw the penalties rather than get the penalties. So
yeah, no, he's an antagonizer.
You love it. You gotta have that guy. Yeah, you gotta have one of those guys.
I love it.
You gotta love it for sure. But Duke, man, thank you so much for jumping on, man. I know a couple weeks ago you were looking to jump on a podcast, and I'm like, hey, come join us, talk about some Blackhawks. So I'm glad that gets you on. So we got two guys now from On Tap. We got you and Johnny Nani. Now we gotta get more of the other boys on to get more Blackhawk stuff for sure. Maybe we'll have to do something this offseason. Have all you boys come on and do like a massive super roundtable of Blackhawks and stuff like that. But
I'd be 100% down with that. If there's a Blackhawks guy I could recommend to you guys as far as Four Feathers, Ron Luce is.
I've talked to Ron I've talked to Ron a lot on Twitter. We'll have to definitely try to get him on in the future too, because talking to Ron is so great. And unfortunately, my birthday and his birthday, they didn't win for us. So hopefully soon, maybe the Blackhawks will win for one of our birthdays, either here at Cannons or with you guys On Tap. But yeah,
I will say Kirby Doc did come back for Ron's birthday though, so that was kind of the bonus of it.
That's a good consolation for sure. But hey, man, where people can find you on Twitter and plug away anything on Tap and stuff like that. Where can people find you and all that good stuff?
Well, I mean, I think I'm kind of a good Twitter follow. You can find me at that pod guy Duke on Twitter. If you're a Bears fan or a football fan in general, I love recording Bears on Tap. We do that every week. I actually just did another podcast as well with this guy, Joey Ricotta. And that was really entertaining. I had a great time over there. I mean, I just love doing podcasts, man. I've been doing podcasts for over 5 years. I love sports. Like, trust me, I don't do like a half-ass effort with any sports team I follow. Like, I'm either all in or all out. And
yeah, right.
Chicago sports has me about as in as I possibly can. I mean, it drives my girlfriend crazy how fanatical I am about sports. So
yeah, right.
If you ever want to find any of my content, that pod guy Duke on Tap Sportsnet, I'm writing articles all the time over there. I cover Bears, Blackhawks, White Sox. I do some Bulls stuff every once in a while as well. I mean, and if you ever find me at a live game when we eventually get fans back in the stands, I will always be open to crack them with you.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Yeah, because I'm in South Carolina right now. But if I'm ever in Chicago, I definitely got to hit you boys up and make sure to crack them with you guys. But like I said, dude, thank you for the show. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a great time talking Blackhawks with you. But that will wrap up our show. And Alex, before we go, what are we all about here at Cans and Tomahawks?
Beer, food, and hockey.
See you guys later.
Thank you for listening to the Cannons and Tomahawks podcast, presented by Belly Up Sports. Beer, food, and hockey.